my story. It starts at age 3 or 4 as a victim of sexual abuse and carries through to adulthood and experiences with rape, prostitution, and domestic violence. Starting at a very young age, I was abused sexually by my adopted father. I have since recently come to learn that he used me as barter for political and monetary considerations with his friends and contacts in Arizona courts and the upper wealthy echelons there. Through the recent opening of childhood medical records, I have discovered numerous buried injuries. There was a recorded broken pelvis at age 6, a dislocated hip at age 8, and a cracked tailbone at age 9. As with most survivors, new abuses surface to come to terms with and heal on the regular at times. Throughout my young adult years, I was physically, emotionally, and mentally abused by school workers, romantic partners, and work associates. It was an unbreakable cycle for me at times, it seems. As a mature adult, I found myself trapped in an abusive marriage with a man who repeatedly cheated on me, even once we had children, and who in a war flashback strangled me during sex. He didn't remember the next day, and he accused me of lying. He spent years gaslighting my children and I to keep us quiet and compliant. We are all still trying to this day to recover and put away vivid memories of domestic violence shelters. It took his complete disregard for our boys' safety, his extreme discipline methods, and constant rages for me to finally divorce him. It was ugly, and it was angry, and he left us physically, financially, and emotionally wrecked. What followed was 8 years of passive and aggressive abuse, both verbal and physical. He used our boys as pawns to manipulate me into resolutions that he desired, both sexually and financially. I tried moving away to other cities in Washington state. I went to court for restraining orders and supervised visits. I went to the police, only to be told I couldn't report a rape because I hadn't fought, even though I'd said no. Even though I'd said I didn't fight because my children were right there in the living room outside my bedroom, and I didn't want them to know what was happening. And he had used that to keep me quiet. That's not rape, the police said. He used that to keep me quiet and compliant, like always. I decided to move far away. I could not let him continue to bruise my boys' gentle hearts and place endless despair in their eyes, drive us from our homes and into domestic violence shelters. I could not let him teach my children that life is about angry words, angry touches, and even angrier love. For many reasons, I chose to move here to the state of Massachusetts in September of 2017. I researched and prepared. I gathered resources from my place in yet another safe house that I fled to after being stalked and denied justice again by the local police. I came here with 3 boys, 4 suitcases, 3 carry-ons, and a pet carrier with my cat Luna. I settled into my apartment with my Section 8 and with the help of Isabel from Voices Against Violence. From the moment I spoke with her on the phone to her presence here today, she has been the quiet strength and presence of this organization. Without Voices Against Violence, my boys and I would have started life here in an empty apartment with some air mattresses and whatever else we could cobble together. Voices provided the deposit and first month's rent on our apartment, freeing up money for food and essentials. Then Isabel went to work with a staggering network of resources and help, and within days had beds, linens, microwave oven, furniture, kitchenware, and so much more delivered and set up in our home. And it was just that, it was a home because of Voices Against Violence. And the support has never stopped. To be here today and to tell my story is the culmination of years' worth of struggling with recovery. The biggest part of that recovery is in the reclaiming of my voice. As with most victims, the first thing that my abuser stripped from me was my power to speak. For years, not being able to speak up or speak out led to my being re-victimized over and over again, not just by people I knew, but by law enforcement and court systems who were supposed to be in place to help. Today, we gather here to bring awareness to the growing crisis of abuse issues in this country. It spreads like a shameful black plague, its power derived from secrecy and repeat victimization. This month, an entire country is given the opportunity to raise its voice and declare that no one, for any reason whatsoever, deserves to be abused. Our voices can state fearlessly that everyone deserves help to recover from abuse with dignity and the right to bodily autonomy. Being a survivor of abuse can be a long, dark journey filled with despair and feelings of powerlessness. There will always be those ready and willing to cast shame and point fingers of blame at victims. There will be lawmakers who will seek to strip away the dignity and rights of those so desperately fighting for safety and justice. And then there will be us. Look around the room today. Take note of the faces around you. Those who came to hear a story because it might help them help someone else or help themselves. Look at your neighbor and find thanks in your heart that they are sitting there, because it means another warrior in our battle to fight abuse in every shadow it chooses to fight from. Most of all, look within yourself and give yourself a heartfelt well done, because you are here, you are fighting. You gave me a chance to tell my story with open hearts and open minds. Because of people like you, I can take back the power to declare my name openly and proudly in my voice. I am Marin Marielle McCaffrey. I am a victor over a lifetime of sexual and domestic abuse. I am a victor, not a victim. Thank you.